guys, it's Timo here and welcome to a very exciting Liverpool transfer news video, because in the German media Liverpool are linked with Timo Werner again, and according to RB Leipzig's chief executive Oliver Mintzlaff, he's saying that Timo Werner can leave this summer if he continues to refuse to sign a new deal at the club. So what do you think about this new information? Do you think Timo Werner would be a good signing for Liverpool? According to the German media, Liverpool really wants to sign Timo Werner, but I think the price has to be right, because Werner only has 1 year left on his contract, and if things stay like this, if Liverpool don't sign him this summer, we could get him next summer for absolutely nothing, for free. Yes, we would have to pay a big signing bonus for him, but obviously it wouldn't be anywhere near his valuation, which is about 40-50 million pounds. But because Timo Werner is actually not signing a new contract, and he said many times that he doesn't want to sign a new contract. Actually, Liverpool are in a pole position here, and this is what Mintzlaff told the German publication Bild. We are not sitting at the wheel, and we can only make offers of a new contract to Timo Werner and wait. Everything else is not under our control. So even the RB Leipzig chief executive admits that they are basically not in control of the situation. It's up to Timo Werner what he wants to do, and it's up to Liverpool to make a bid that Leipzig would accept. But I think they would accept a lower bid, because so far nobody has come in for Timo Werner. And this is what the Leipzig chief executive said: if Timo does not renew his contract, then we would like to sell him. And there are many interested parties. So many clubs are interested in Timo Werner, but nobody gave an official bid yet for Timo Werner. And the fact that Liverpool are in negotiations with Bournemouth for loaning Harry Wilson out to Bournemouth, it gives me an indication that Liverpool might make a signing, because when we were in talks with Bruges to sell them Mignolet, straight away we had a signing lined up, and just a few hours after we announced that Mignolet is leaving to sign for Club Bruges for like 7 million, bang, Adrian was confirmed officially as a Liverpool player, and Harry Wilson is now as far as having a medical at Bournemouth. So that transfer will probably go through. I mean, a loan deal will probably go through. What is also very encouraging is that Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp are not giving up on Harry Wilson. He's a very, very good player, and as much as I wanted him to stay at Liverpool, starting every week at Bournemouth and showing Jurgen Klopp and showing Liverpool that he's good enough for the Premier League could be a better season and a better option for him. And there is no option to buy at the end of the loan spell for the Bournemouth. So no matter what happens, Harry Wilson comes back at Liverpool, and there are two scenarios. Either he flops in the Premier League or doesn't do too well, then Liverpool will sell him next summer. But if he does well, if he scores like 10 goals in the Premier League, or even 7-8 goals, and lights up the league, then we will have Harry Wilson who is even more improved and who has Premier League experience, and I think that would be brilliant. But you know, Liverpool have to act quickly if they want this Timo Werner transfer to get over the line, because the Premier League transfer window closes on August the 8th. So Liverpool just have 2.5 days to make transfers, and I really hope that Liverpool have a signing up their sleeve. And we will talk a little bit later on the Coutinho deal as well, because there has been many different reports linking Coutinho to Premier League clubs on loan. Apparently Arsenal will sign Coutinho on loan, but Julien Roland, a respected ESPN journalist, denied that claim. He said that Arsenal are not interested in Coutinho. TalkSport is saying that Liverpool and Tottenham, and Arsenal want Coutinho on loan, so I'm not sure who to believe, but that's an interesting transfer story that I will cover in the next video. But guys, if you enjoy the latest transfer news, please leave a like. It just takes a second for you guys to like the video and it really helps me out. And ESPN pundit and former Premier League player Shaka Hislop said this about Timo Werner: "If I'm Timo Werner last year of my contract or not, I think I'm starting somewhere, starting either at Leipzig or at another club. And I don't see Timo Werner getting into Liverpool's front three anytime soon." So from the club's perspective, from Liverpool's perspective, yes, from the player's perspective, it doesn't make an awful lot of sense to go to Liverpool. Given how sturdy that front three has been, I don't see him pulling up any trees. Is Timo Werner right now better than Firmino? No. But he can start for Liverpool and also accommodate, the front three, because Liverpool many times last season played with a front four. We played with two holding midfielders, and also we played with Shaqiri, Firmino, Mane and Salah up front. And instead of Shaqiri, Firmino or Salah could play on the right wing, and Timo Werner can play up front, Firmino behind him, Salah on the right, Mane on the left. I think for the bottom half of the Premier League teams, and in the League Cup and in the FA Cup, we can get away most of the time with playing with the front four and just two defensive midfielders, somebody like Henderson and Fabinho. So I think there is a possibility that Werner comes in and he starts a lot of games and Liverpool don't really disrupt the front three. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what is your opinion in the comments below. And Timo Werner, Liverpool's chief executive, has spoken about the transfer window and also many different things. So I want to read this interview to you guys because I think it's very interesting and fascinating. And I quote, "I don't think it makes strategic sense for an owner to comment on transfer policy while a transfer window remains open. What I would say is that, as always, Jurgen has articulated the situation really well by pointing not only to the strength we already have, but the strength we have coming back. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Ryan Brewster is available properly. I would say Naby Keita a year on, and I could go on. It's also a very high quality team and a squad, which makes signing players who are better than what we currently have more challenging. What I would say is that we always remain ambitious and we remain committed to keeping this amazing squad together and at a level where it can be competitive for all the big trophies." What comes through from Jurgen is what a kind, humble, intelligent, confident and a good-humoured leader he is. He is obviously the right person to lead Liverpool. We were convinced of that the first time John W. Henry, Mike Gordon and I met him in New York. The match between the aspirations of our fan base, the history of the club and Jurgen, they match up in a way that is really perfect. I'm sure he could have taken a job at any other club. I think this has been a great match. I would rather not talk too much about private conversations, but but suffice to say that we all think he's just exceptional. Jurgen knows what we think of him, and I think that's brilliant. I'm so happy that the Liverpool owners really know how amazing Jurgen Klopp as a manager and as a man is, and how much they appreciate him. That tells me that the owners will do everything in their power to keep Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool as manager as long as possible. And I think Jurgen Klopp loves it at Liverpool. So at least for the next few years, we have Jurgen Klopp as our manager. After that, I'm not sure. We shall wait and see. That's too far in the future to say. But according to other reports, Pepe Reina were desperate to return to Liverpool after he heard that we are selling Mignolet. He really wanted to come back, but maybe his age, that he's 36 years old, has put Liverpool off a little bit. And this is what James Pearce said in a Q&A interview. "I'm not aware of any other signings being imminent. Liverpool haven't completely ruled it out though. Jurgen Klopp mentioned on tour of the States that there was one position he was still looking at potentially bringing in one player. In terms of the keeper situation, I know Pepe Reina was very keen to come back to Liverpool, but the club decided to go for Adrian instead. Alex McCarthy was also on the shortlist drawn up. Alex McCarthy, I think, plays for Southampton, if I'm not mistaken. But I think Adrian is a better goalkeeper than McCarthy. He's a better goalkeeper than Mignolet, slightly, but I think he's better because of his distribution. And it's very hard to judge Pepe Reina, how good of a goalkeeper he is right now, because he has been second choice at AC Milan, and he hasn't started that many games. At Napoli, he was a very, very good goalkeeper. Maybe not as good as he was when he was playing at Liverpool, but still a very good goalkeeper. But he's 36 years old, and I think it was more of a sentimental wish for Pepe Reina to return to Liverpool. And Adrian could be our backup goalkeeper for the next 3-4 years, but Pepe Reina would be just a stopgap for maybe 1 or 2 seasons. What I really wanted was to maybe sign Pepe Reina for just 2 years and try to win the Premier League, so Pepe Reina fulfills his dream of winning the Premier League at Liverpool as a Liverpool player, and maybe line up another goalkeeper after Pepe Reina left because of his age. But as I said, being 36 years old, it would have been a bigger gamble to bring in Pepe Reina than it was to bring in Adrian, because Adrian is only 32, so as a goalkeeper that's like almost the perfect age, that he is still a good 3, 4, 5 years ahead of him. And Sadio Mane could break or match a Premier League record, because Sadio Mane has scored in the past 3 seasons on the opening day in the Premier League, and that record was set by Teddy Sheringham 24 years ago. Teddy Sheringham is the only player so far who has scored in 4 consecutive opening league fixtures, and Sadio Mane, if he scores against Norwich, could match that, but it will be difficult because I think Sadio Mane will not start that game against Norwich. He just came back from his short holiday, but he had just 16 days off, so even Jurgen Klopp himself said that Sadio Mane is very sharp and he could come back very fit after his short holiday. But I think Mane needs a break, and I think Jurgen Klopp will just ease him in, maybe give him a 20 or 30 minute cameo at the end of the Norwich game, and we will start with Salah, Firmino and Origi in that Norwich game, and that front line should be good enough to beat Norwich. And then we will go to Istanbul, the famous city where Liverpool won their 5th Champions League, and we will try to beat Chelsea to win the European Super Cup. And I think that cup final will be a lot more telling than the Community Shield final. The Community Shield final was brilliant. Liverpool really played well in the second half. I'm still so disappointed that Liverpool were desperately unlucky not to win. We really should have scored probably 4 goals against Man City and would have been easily enough to win. And Harvey Elliott on social media showed that he is a very confident 16-year-old, because after the Community Shield final, Man City fans were giving Harvey Elliott a bit of stick on social media, and he replied with these comments: "I'm not worrying, bro, McDonald's trophy anyway." Oh, that's just hilarious. And then he just commented 6 Champions Leagues. He's not really bothered about not winning the Community Shield. Of course, all the Liverpool fans wanted the Community Shield title, but I think that's not the most important trophy of the season. The most important trophy is the Premier League, the Champions League, and also if Liverpool win the European Super Cup and the Club World Cup, I will be more than happy to praise Liverpool for winning at least 2 or maybe even more trophies this season. So really looking forward to the season. And I wanted to talk about a man who actually changed Liverpool's history, because back in 2010 Liverpool were in a mess off the pitch and on it. Roy Hodgson was in charge. We were fighting against relegation. Tom Hicks and George Gillett were the owners. The big debts were mounting on the club. Another Champions League trophy being added to the cabinet just 9 years later was the last thing anyone at Liverpool was thinking about. Simply surviving was the only thing that Liverpool were concerned about. Let me introduce you to Joe Januszewski, who I think is a Polish man, but he was actually a very important man in turning the fortunes of Liverpool around. He was the salesman who saw the bargain of Liverpool, and he actually quickly set about trying to convince John W. Henry and Fenway Sports Group FSG to take over at Anfield. This is what Janusewski said. This was the greatest sales job I had ever done. To convince my owners, who weren't really interested in football and soccer, to buy Liverpool. Now, of course, they are all very passionate Liverpool fans. They love the club, they love the supporters, and they have done an incredible job. But back then, they weren't interested in football. They didn't even know much about football. That's why they made so many mistakes early on. But even the owners themselves said that they learned from their mistakes. And I think in the past 3 years, they have really done exceptionally well. I mean, the transfer record of Jurgen Klopp and the transfer committee is brilliant. And it was all about, you know, appointing the right kind of people in the right kind of positions at Liverpool. And the rest is history. And I think that Liverpool are on to great things. And if it wasn't for Manchester City, Liverpool could do a clean sweep in England. We could win the Premier League, the FA Cup, the League Cup. But Man City are here, and that's the challenge that Liverpool have to overcome. We have to beat Man City to the Premier League title, which will be extremely difficult under Pep Guardiola, but not impossible. And if Liverpool get a little bit of luck and a little bit more consistency, we can definitely do it. But without Janusewski's phone call to America and foresight to convince non-footballing people to actually invest in a soccer team, in a football team in Liverpool, things could have been very different. I dread to think what would have happened for Liverpool if we went into administration and if we would have had maybe a 10-point deduction. Can you imagine if Liverpool, for some reason or other, got relegated to the Championship in like 2010, 2011? Under your Roy Hodgson, that was a possibility. I mean, until the owners came in and sacked Roy Hodgson and appointed Kenny Dalglish, we had the worst season in our last like 30 or 40 years. And at one point, we were in 19th place, just above the last team in the Premier League on goal difference. And that was like in October or November, so it wasn't even at the beginning of the season. Can you imagine? I mean, it's an absolutely different kind of world that Liverpool are living in right now. And Raheem Sterling was asked who he is playing when he is playing the popular video game FIFA. And this is what Raheem Sterling said. Usually Paris Saint-Germain, and I shouldn't say this, but Liverpool. And that, I found that very interesting. And also, after the Community Shield final, Raheem Sterling went over to Liverpool fans and actually posed for photographs with them. And also, he gave his Man City shirt to one of the Liverpool fans, which I thought was a classy gesture. And that I respect Raheem Sterling a little bit more. And I can understand why Raheem Sterling left Liverpool, because at the time when he left, you know, we were falling apart. We saw Luis Suarez and all the big stars, almost all of the big stars were leaving Liverpool. So I can understand why Raheem Sterling left the club. And now he's winning a lot of trophies at Man City. And it's a little bit painful to see Raheem Sterling banging in the goals for one of Liverpool's rivals. But at that time, you wouldn't think that Liverpool would be rivaling Man City. As strange as it sounds, Liverpool were nowhere near, you know, challenging for the Premier League title. Even when Raheem Sterling left, it didn't look like challenging for the title again without Luis Suarez for a long time. And actually that was the case until Jurgen Klopp came around. And you wouldn't expect Raheem Sterling to wait for another 5 years or 3 years until Liverpool rebuilt their squad. And it actually took us probably a lot shorter than that to actually challenge for the title. And without Raheem Sterling, you know, Man City might not have won the Premier League in the last 2 years. So it's an interesting debate, but I can understand why Sterling went to Man City to win trophies. But I still think that, judging by these interviews, judging how he went over to the Liverpool fans, that Raheem Sterling has a soft spot still for Liverpool in his heart, deep down, which of course he won't admit publicly because he is a Man City player now. But I thought that's an interesting story to talk about. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. See you later, guys. Goodbye.